Around this time every year, I like to think about my father. He passed away suddenly 17 years ago in a car accident, and today was the day he passed away. And he passed away at age 65. He didn't get to accomplish a lot of the things he wanted to accomplish before he passed away. He didn't get a lot to do a lot of the things he wanted to do. He didn't get to meet my youngest son before he passed away that was born on the day after his birthday. Today I want to be talking about a lot of the things I wish my father had done before he passed away, and a lot of the things that I want to make sure that I do before I retire. And so my name's Joe Franklin, and here at the Mustard Seed we like to put faith with finance. We care more about what the Word says than ChatGPT or anything else. But today we want to talk about the 9 things we want to fix before we retire. So let's get right into that. One thing that I wish I'd spent more time with my father doing is fishing. And of course, when you're fishing, you either want to fish and you're catching fish or you're cutting bait. And by age 65, most people want to have retired. Now, if you're past 65 and you haven't retired yet, you need to think about, what am I doing with the rest of my life? Now, if you really enjoy what you do and you get a lot of value out of it and you feel like you're doing what God has you put on earth to do, then keep doing it. And a lot of times people decide they want to do something different at some point in their life. They feel they're called to do something different, and that's great. But if you feel like you're wasting your time putting in the grind and you're working towards 65, you don't feel like you're completing your purpose, why are you still doing that? Why don't you figure out what you need to do to be financially independent? Once you get financially independent, then you can look for that area where you're really fulfilling your purpose, where you're really making a difference. And by the time we're 65, we've only got about 1,000 weeks of healthy time left. And we don't have that much healthy time available to us anymore when we get a little bit older. And we want to make sure we make the best use of it. Make sure that we spend that time doing the things we enjoy. Make sure we're traveling. Make sure we're spending time with our family. Make sure we're doing the things that give us more gratification. And if you're doing what gives you gratification, what gives you purpose, that's great. And spend time with those people that you love. But if you're not, then find a way to get away from that and move toward an area that makes a lot more sense. We don't want to wait until it's too late to enjoy life. We want to go ahead and enjoy life now. We all want to take time to recharge our batteries so we're better when we're on. We want to be better when we're doing what makes a difference in the world, so we can make a bigger difference in the world. Enjoy your life now. Here it is, enjoy your life now. And also, we want to make sure that you don't want to be penny wise and pound foolish. You want to be in a place where you understand the value of your time. A poor man values $1. A rich man values an hour of his time. Also, we want to make sure that we choose wisely. Now, when I say choose wisely, we want to choose wisely those people that we spend our time with, our family, our friends, our close advisors. When we're looking for someone to help us craft an estate plan, we want to choose wisely among all those that are out there so that we can have the best solution for us going forward. So if we pass away, everything's taken care of. We want to choose wisely for an advisor to help us with our finances so that we have everything set up for the next 30 years or so, and we have enough left over for the kids. We want to choose wisely to implement our estate plans with people and trustees and executors that will do what we want them to do. We want to choose wisely among those people that we have set up to help take care of things when we're no longer here. When we're gone, everything goes back in the box. It's just like a game of Monopoly. It's all going back in the box. We don't keep it. We pass it on to the next stewards, and we want to train them to be good stewards in the future, and we want to choose the best ones available that can take what we've done and take it to the next level. So keep that in mind. We don't own any of this stuff. We're just stewards. In heaven, we're going to get our just rewards. We're going to get riches in heaven. What we get today is just a smattering of what we're going to see in the hereafter. So be sure to be a good steward and pick a good steward for who's going to take over after you're gone. So we've talked a little bit about setting up estates and setting up trusts and things of that nature for after we're gone. and we don't know when that time's going to happen, and we want to make sure that we fund the trust. But what a lot of times happens is people think that they funded the trust just by saying we're going to do this in the will, or by picking somebody to be the trustee. We want to have everything set up on the front end. Now, when we retire, we want to make sure we plan that well on the front end. When we're planning our estate, we want to make sure that we set everything up on the front end. And we're the only one who knows where everything is. So if we're setting everything up, why don't we figure out where everything is, gather everything together, and fund everything ourselves? If we do that, it's like packing our own bags for a trip. If you're going on a trip, are you going to rely on your friend down the street to pack your bags for you? Probably not. If you pack your own bags, you're much more likely to have everything you need when you can get to where you want to be. And when you do this with your estate, you're going to have everything set up for the next generation. And hopefully we've planned the next generation pretty well in order to do this. And so what we want to do is we want to empower the next generation to take over. We've already figured out who we want these stewards to be. We want to empower them. Now, I used to think that we'd set up these trusts. I used to say that when I get older, my kids are going to be older too. Eventually, we're going to know how well they're going to handle things. But if they aren't going to be in a good spot to be able to handle things, we'll have these trusts so that if they're not very financially responsible, we got somebody over here to control things so they do things well. But things have changed in my thinking, and when we look at Scripture, we note that we want to make sure that we empower people. God doesn't try to control us. Why should we be trying to control our kids from beyond the grave? God empowers us to do what's right, and He gives us a choice. And we can either choose to follow Him and be obedient to Him, or we can choose not to. Now, if we make the wrong choice, sometimes we pay the consequences, and sometimes those consequences aren't fun. And God gives us the gift of a struggle sometimes, and we eventually come back to Him and we learn our lesson. But we've got to enable our kids to learn those lessons as well. And hopefully we'll be able to set them up in a way where they can learn the lessons a little bit easier. Choose to train your children, train them how to manage money, train them how to be good stewards. If you give them a little and see how they do, then you can give them more and see how they do. If somebody's faithful with a little, then they'll be faithful with a lot. If somebody's unfaithful with a little, you don't have to give them any more. You can just say, well, they weren't faithful right now. We'll try them out again a little bit later. And also, we want to make sure if we're trying to accomplish something that we communicate. Something my father, when he was trying to do his estate planning, he and his wife, Olga, did not communicate effectively. He went to the attorney and got all this estate planning done. And when he came back, he had really nice paperwork, nice blueprints for his estate plan. But when it was time to put it in place, Olga wasn't on the same page, and so this estate planning never got done. Lots of trusts never got funded, lots of accounts never got set up, and it caused all kinds of heartache after the fact. And so what we want to do is make sure that we're communicating. As Ephesians 4:15 says, we want to speak the truth in love so we can become in every way just like Him, and that is Christ Jesus. So if we emulate Him, if we speak the truth, that's great. And if we're speaking the truth, sometimes it can come out in a non-loving way. But if we think about loving each other first and speak that truth with love, it makes all the difference. One thing that unfortunately a lot of us go through is we all go through a period where we experience anger and fear. And when we're angry at something, we fight against it. And when we're fearful about something, we run away from it. Now, if we're always thinking about tyrants and how to overcome the tyrants, a lot of times we're going to end up replacing a tyrant with another tyrant when we run away the first tyrant. But if we're thinking about what we're moving toward, if we're moving toward freedom, if we're moving toward having a shining city on a hill, and we set up things appropriately with a lot of checks and balances, we can have something that's going to last hundreds of years or maybe even thousands of years as an example to the rest of the world. And when we're thinking about what we're doing, are we moving towards something, or are we going to move away from something? Are we fighting something, or are we looking at something that we love and we want to build? So we want to be thinking about love and faith. And love and faith is always going to be greater than fear and anger. So in everything that we do, let's think about loving others and having faith in the future. Move toward what we want to accomplish, not away from what we don't want. Move toward loving things, and when we're loving, we are expressing something and doing something. Love is a verb, not a feeling. So if you're loving someone, then you are doing for someone. Why not love someone instead of expressing anger? If you love them, then they're going to be a lot more amenable in the future. So let's focus on love and faith and believing in what we can accomplish, not on what we don't like, running away from what we don't like, or fighting what we don't like. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is putting things in the right order. And when we think about what's in the right order in our lives, a lot of times people have different identities. And today, a lot of people talk about identities. So if your identity is, I'm an American, that's not a bad identity. I think that's a pretty good identity, but it's not the best identity. If your identity is, I'm a father or a mother, or I'm a son or a daughter, or I'm a gardener, or I'm an athlete, all these identities are okay identities, but they're identities that you may turn into an idol. That's not the best identity. Now, the best identity I can think of is that I'm a child of God. Secondly, the next best identity is that I'm a father, or actually the next best would be I'm a husband. You want to put being a husband ahead of being a father. And if you don't recognize that, then you need to study a little bit more. But you want to make sure that you're a child of God first, a wife or a husband second, a father or a mother third, and then after that you can be son or daughter, whatever you want to be. But if your first identity is that you're a child of God, no one's ever going to let you down. You can't be let down as a child of God. You can be let down as any of these other identities. And a lot of times these identities separate people. We want to have identities that bring us together. And if we're a child of God, we ought to be brought together. We shouldn't be thinking about denominations or which sect we're in, whether we like one version of this or one version of that. Think about where we're the same and where we can unite together and love one another. Our identity is in Him, and that's the best identity that we can ever have. So since you love these videos so much, please feel free to click this video here, because I think you might like that, and put your thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We'll catch up with you next time.